Hey everybody, when I was younger, and one of those crazy ideas I had when I must have been like 5th or 4th grade, I'm guessing. But my mother thought it was a really good idea for me to take tennis lessons one summer, and I was horrible at tennis. I don't know what the deal was. I mean, I was good at playing baseball. I've always been good playing baseball, softball, that kind of stuff. But I've never, I just, something about tennis, I just never really took. I love the idea of it. I love watching it. But it was just never my bag, yo. But this game called Sweet Spot, and I apologize I don't have a thing to show you, is a card game about playing a game of tennis. And it seems a little weird and it seems a little funky that somebody would make a game like that, but it really does feel like you're playing a game of tennis. It is a numbers game where you're going to be playing competing cards, trying to get your number, basically, as you're bouncing the ball back and forth. You're trying to get that number when you return it to somebody down to a 1, 2, or 3, and that means that you've hit the card back, and it's in the lines, and it is unreturnable, and so then you gain a point. And so you once you score a certain number of points, you theoretically will win the round, and then you reset, and everybody gets new cards, and then you play again until you win another round, and so forth. And just like a normal, game, set, match type of situation. And like I said, it really kind of feels like you're playing tennis. I think it's the volleying thing, but I'll talk more about that in just a little bit. So let me show you how the game is played, show you what it looks like, and then we'll come back here and I'll talk more about Sweet Spot. Alright, this is Sweet Spot, so let me teach you how to play. To begin with, each person is going to get a tennis star that they're going to be playing, and these are not based in reality, I assure you. Each person has a marker that has 10 stamina. I just use a 10-sided die. It works just the same, but regardless, each person has a name, Pete, and it has a special power. At the start of the rally, Pete may force an opponent to discard one card from their hand. These are just powers and abilities that break the rules in some way. One of the cool things about this is that they do make sense in a way, because they are very, very steeped in the theme of tennis, but also obviously they are kind of references, if you will, to real tennis players. So you're just going to go ahead and take one. You can pick one. You can deal it out randomly, whatever. Just pick one and you put it down, and that is your dude or dudette that you're going to be using. Once you use the special power, it can only be used once during the entire game, and so then you flip the card over to show that you've used that. Roll a die, rock, paper, scissors, flip a coin, however you want to figure out who the first player is. That person is going to pick whoever is going to serve. Either they pick themselves or they pick the other person. If they're serving, what they're going to do, I realize these are 3 decks of cards, look exactly the same, but this is the serve deck. I should say this is the serve deck. This is the tactics deck, and this is the return deck. So the server gets 2 serve cards, they get 2 tactics cards, and they're going to get 6, 6 return cards. The person that is just going to be receiving the serve takes 2 tactics cards, and they're going to take 8 of these return cards. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. So the way this works is that the person that is serving is going to take their hand of cards, and this hand of cards is secret. You don't show that to anybody. That is just yours and yours alone. Because you don't want them to know what you have. And they're going to take a service card, and the serve card is going to have a stamina cost. This one's 0. This one's 1. It has a starting number. You don't want to use this one. This is a bad serve. It is a weak serve, and so because the trick is that when you return the card, when you play a card that is saying that you're hitting the card back, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're trying to get that person to be able to either not play a card that's going to help them, or basically force them to play a card that is going to get them the number down to a 4, a 5, or a 6. If the other person returns it with a 4, 5, or 6, or I should say a 0 or lower, they basically have hit the net, or they've hit the ball out, and then you get a point. Just like in this is the rally. Basically, you're going to go through these rallies until you're done with a round, and then you're going to see who wins the most rounds. But the way the rally works is that you score 1 point for each serve or return that you win until you basically it's just like normal scoring, 15, 30, 40 game. There is no deuce in tennis. Basically, if each person gets to 4 or 40 points, the next score wins. But anyway, so you put down a card, and like this, it's a serve. You take down your stamina, like so. If I can find the 9 on this die, and so then that shows that, and then you wait for the other person to return. Now I just want to show you some other cards really quick. So like here is a tactics card. So this is a topspin feint, and you play this with a return card. You can add 2 to the total, and here's a buggy whip. Play in place of a return card. It's -2 or +2, so it's like a really minor increment. And so then you have like -3, +5, +3, +3, -5, -5. So you have these cards that have different powers or different numbers and a different number of stamina that costs to use them. Now, what you want to do is you want to get the number to 11. When players get to 11, they're kind of put in a position, as you saw with those, a lot of -3s, -5s. That's a very common card. You get somebody that has to return to an 8. That allows you the real good chance of being able to return the card as a 1, 2, or 3. If your returner card is a 1, 2, or 3, that's considered an in, and it's an unhittable card, and so then you win the point. So we're starting with the 18, and I'm just gonna, here's a tactics card. Let's see, here's Egg Shot. Regain 1 stamina. Play together with a return card, and that return card now has the icon. That means it's a hidden card, and so you can hide that card from somebody, so they don't know what it has, and until they're responding and they don't know. It's a pretty cool effect, actually. And then here, this one is play together with a return. You make that brings the ball value down to 7, 8, or 9. The opponent instantly loses this rally via down status, as if this card was played by them. So, just a kind of cool little ability as far as the tactics card. But anyway, so we are down to, we have an 18, and so we have, well, this is actually really good. So we have an 18. We happen to have this -7. You can see it's a 2 stamina, though. So we return, and we get it down to an 11. And so now, basically, we're going to look at these cards, and we have, the +2, the +2, -2, and then we have -5. We don't want to play those because those would lose it for us. We could lob it back over with a 14, but if he's got a -3, he's just going to do that again. So what we could do is, well, we can't. Geez. I mean, I'm kind of playing at a little bit of a bonus here because of the fact that I can see that I saw the other card. So why don't we just, we hit a moon ball, and we, another -1 to my stamina, and then so we're going to add 5, and we're going to hit it back, and so now it's a 16. So we're going to see it's a 16, and then this is obviously, and this is actually that weird volley where it's like da-dunk, 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 da-dunk. You can see it kind of evoking the actual thing. So now, oh yeah, well, -5. Now I should mention that if at any time you don't have the stamina to play a card, or you just choose not to play a card, you're going to lose the point as well because you're not returning at that point. You might say, why would you play a card? If you're low on stamina and you want to keep cards, basically at the end of rally you can turn cards in that the amount of cards you have left in your hand will determine how much stamina you get back. So it's pretty important. So we're back down to 11. So what are our options here? We can go ahead, we could play another, where's our +3, +3, -3? These are bad decisions. So we could, let's just do this. And so why don't we say +2 for this one? -1 stamina. So we're playing the buggy whip. So we're at a 13 then. So we're going to go ahead and find our 7. Go to there. And so then we're at a 13. And so the other player is going to look. They could raise it up to an 18. They could raise it down to a 10. So let's go ahead and go down to 8, but if we go to 10, let's see what happens. So we're -3 down to 10, and let's see what we have again. So, and this stinks because if we had one of those things where we had like a -7, that would be really good, but we don't have a -7. So let's do this. We can play our tactics card and this +3 together, and we're going to go ahead and put it back up. So we'll go down to 6 on our stamina here. So let me make sure I got my math correct. We went 18, -7 to 11, +5 to 16, -5 to 11, 13, then to 10, and now it's back up to 15. All right, and so let's see what we have here. We can go up to 20. We can go down to 12. Let's put it down to 10. And I think the writing's on the wall here. We're not going to be able to do much. So we go to 5, we lose, 5, we lose, a 13, and a -3. And so, and a 7. So we're just going to kind of maybe give up on this one. So we're going down to 7. And now, if the other player has like a -3, that's not going to work. A -5. So then they could play this -5. It gets down to 2, and then that person would win the point. All right, so you get done with the rally, and and so now when the rally is done, each person, if they have any tactics cards, there's tactics cards that you can play during rallies, at the end of rallies, in which you can use if they do that. Now in this situation, for every 2 cards you have rounded down, you get a point. So if I had 5 cards, I get 2 stamina. If I have 4 cards, I get 2 stamina. If I had 6 cards, I would get 3 stamina. So I go ahead. I'm going to get 2 stamina, 8. The other player does that as well. And then now you get to replenish your cards if you so desire. Well, actually, you have to replenish your cards, and you replenish them back up to 10. Now, the big thing here is that you got to make sure that if you're serving, you make sure you take serve cards, because if you don't have any serve cards and it's your job to serve, then you're not going to be able to have one, and that's considered a double fault, and you give the other person a point. So make sure you have enough. If you have to serve, it's your turn to serve, and you don't have, make sure you take at least 1 serve card. If you fail to do that, you lose the point, and then you have to discard and draw cards at that point, and you don't have the option not to do that. I mean, you basically, and you don't get more stamina back either. You can't say, oh, I forgot to get it, now I get more stamina back. No, you don't get any stamina back in that situation. You have to go ahead and take that. All right, so then you go back and forth until you figure out who wins the round. Basically, remember, you get if you get to if you're at 40 points and you get another point, you've won the round. And then after the round's done, you can't play any after a rally ends cards at that point, because that's the end of the round. Everybody gets 4 stamina back. And that is it doesn't matter how many cards you have. If you want, you can choose to keep up to 2 cards in your hand. If you discard all your cards, you get an extra 2 stamina. Then you draw back up to your 10 initial cards, like as far as the service goes. So like if you're serving, you get 2, 2, and 6. If you're returning, you get 2 and 8. And then if you kept cards, and so you drew your cards back up, and so if you kept 2 cards that you liked, you're going to have more than 10 cards. You discard back down to 10, and then you begin the new round. And then the other person that didn't serve during the last rally, will be the service player. And then you begin again. And just like in tennis, depending on how you want to play, you play a certain number of rounds, and then like 3 rounds. Whoever wins 3 rounds first will win the game of Sweet Spot. Now you can play 2 players. You have 2 players playing just like doubles tennis, and that works really well as well. But I think this game really, really shines as a 2-player game, and it's a lot of fun. And even though I played very little tennis when I was younger, it does feel like a tennis match. But I'll talk more about that in my final thoughts. All right, thank you very much for learning how to play Sweet Spot. I hope you got a feel for the game, and that's the big thing about this. It is a card game, and it has likenesses to other card games as well. I mean, and I can see like it is primarily a math game, but it has enough of like a twist and an edge. I mean, it has the good resource situation of your stamina, and that forces some tough decisions at times as far as different cards you want to play. You might hamstring yourself by using up a lot of stamina with a lot of powerful cards in a particular round, a particular set of a rally of a round. Terminology for tennis just always gets me. But you'll need to do it, right? Just so you can get that point. Sacrificing your options, the cards that you have available to you, or that you can feasibly use the next round because of that turn of events, if you will. As I said repeatedly, it feels like you're playing tennis. I think it is the whole process of like, here, this is 18. Okay, now it's 14. Now, and back and forth, and it just, and as you watch tennis, what's tennis? It's like ding, 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 So you know what I'm getting at. And like I said, I think if you are a fan of tennis, and if you are like, if you know a lot about it, I think you're gonna like see the names of them. I mean, I caught some of the terminology or whatever on the cards, but I think it would probably mean a lot more to me if like I'd gotten a little bit more out of those tennis lessons I took all those years ago, instead of just like screwing around and like seeing how far I could like hit the tennis ball pretending it was a baseball, like the Minnesota Twins win the pennant, so I mean, which was mostly what I did. And then God, that poor tennis teacher I had. I mean, I remember I infuriated him so much one day. He told me to go home, and then when I refused to leave the tennis courts, he started hitting tennis balls at me as hard as he could. I remember being terrified as I ran down, the balls were hitting the chain link fence behind me. Man, I haven't thought about that in years. But anyway, regardless, I like tennis. I like watching it. I think it is an amazing sport. And so even though I suck at it, having a cool game like this was a lot of fun. And it was a game that I could play with my daughter, because it like the whole math thing, and she really kind of took to it as well. And she likes watching tennis matches on TV as well. She's a big fan, obviously, of the Venus and Serena Williams. She thinks they're really awesome. But anyway, I think you're gonna like it if you like mathy games, if you like one versus one head-to-head games. And the doubles game is a lot of fun, but like I said, I think it shines in the head-to-head portion. So there you go. If you have any questions about Sweet Spot, please ask away. I'll answer those to the best of my ability. If you have, as always, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. And until next time, I'm the Undead Viking, and I'm telling you to have yourself one heck of an awesome day.